Hello, Jaguars. Today we're going to be continuing on to lesson 16, but we're going to go to part 2. Yesterday we learned about changing a fraction into its unit form and converting an improper fraction into a mixed number. Now today we're going to learn the subtraction and addition parts, so our target's going to be I can add and subtract fractions and represent the process on a number line. I know I'm successful when I can, read it with me please. 1. Convert fractions into their unit form. 2. Write the unit form as a math sentence and solve the math sentence. And 3. Plot fractions on a number line and represent a math sentence. Okay, now if you forgot about what the units are, I drew some of the fractions out here on this first slide and wrote down what the units are when they are written down in its unit form. So when there's two pieces, it's a half or halves, 3 is thirds, 4 is fourths, 5 is fifths, 6 is sixths, 7 is sevenths, and 8 is eighths. All right? Make sure you remember those and remember that using the words, because when we use our unit form, it's going to help us understand why the denominator does not change when we add and subtract fractions, okay? So let's get started, shall we? All right, Jaguars, we're going to start off with converting fractions to the unit form for addition and subtraction. The rules are when adding and subtracting fractions, the units must be the same, and our unit is based on the denominator. Number 2, you can only add or subtract the numerator. The denominator is your unit, so it will not change. So let's get started. We have 2/3 plus 2/3. We're going to change each of these values into their unit form. So here we have 2 based on our numerator, thirds based on our denominator, plus 2, which is our numerator, and thirds as our denominator. Units will not change. Okay? So we have 2 plus 2 equals 4. And if we combine it with our units, we have 4/3. Okay? It's just like if it was 2 apples, instead of 2/3 plus 2 apples, it would be 4 apples. Now, we learned about improper fractions and converting them into a mixed number. So we have 4/3. We're decomposing it into a whole number and a fraction. Since 4/3 is an improper fraction, we're going to convert it. Well, we have 3/3 in there, plus 1/3, and this 3/3 is 1, so that equals 1 and 1/3. Okay? Looking at number 2, we have 12/6 minus 5/6 equals something. So, again, we're going to start off by bringing it into its unit form. We have 12/6 minus 5/6 equals something. So let's figure it out. Since our units will not change, we're going to end up with sixths. Now we have 12 minus 5. Well, 12 minus 5 equals 7. So we have 7/6. So now we're going to write our fraction 7/6, and let's convert it into a mixed number. Since there's a total of 6 pieces and we have 7 parts, we have more than one whole. So if we have 6 out of 6 pieces, we have 1 extra sixth, and this 6 out of 6 equals 1. That's 1 and 1/6. Okay? Now, If you forgot how to convert into a mixed number, you can always go back to the previous lesson to learn what we have to do in order to change from an improper fraction into a mixed number. Also, in the previous lesson, it shows all of the unit forms for all the fractions. All right? So, let's move on. All right, Jaguars, we're gonna test out what you just learned. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna pick one addition and one subtraction math sentence down below and solve it. If your answer has an improper fraction, convert it into a mixed number. All right, this would be a good time to pause the video while you do some of the work.
Sorry, I just realized that it started to lose its sound here. So we're on the subtraction for number 1. We have 10 fourths minus 6 fourths. So when we write it out in its unit form, we got 10 fourths minus 6 fourths. And when we do 10 minus 6, we get 4. And our units stay the same, so we have 4 fourths. And then when we write it as a fraction, we have 4 fourths. And when the numerator and the denominator are the same, we have 1. So 10 fourths minus 6 fourths equals 1. Looking at number 2, we have 9 fifths minus 3 fifths. So when we write it out in unit form, this is what it looks like. And then when we do 9 minus 3, we get 6, and our units will stay the same. So we have 6 fifths. And when we write the fraction 6 fifths, we want to change it to a mixed number. Since there's 5 parts in the whole, we have 5 fifths plus 1 fifth, and we get 1 plus 1 fifth, and we have 1 and 1 fifth. Okay? We're going to move on to our next topic within the lesson, so get ready.
Alright, now we're using a number line to model our answers. Okay? So when we're modeling our answers, we're looking at how are we going to show the subtraction or addition. Okay? So the steps to using a number line, we're going to draw a number line and label each line based on the fraction unit. Okay, we're going to be looking at the denominator for our fraction unit. Number 2, plot the first value on the number line and show subtraction or addition by moving left or right on the number line. So let's do an example. Let's say I have 3 fifths and I want to add another 3 fifths. Okay? I have 0 at the start. And I'm going to mark 1 fifth, 2 fifths, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5, or this is also going to be 1. And then we got 6/5, 7/5, 8/5, 9/5, 10/5. I just decided to go that far just so I make sure that I have enough. But remember, well, every 5/5 is going to be 1 whole, so 10/5 is actually going to be 2. So when we model it, we're going to start out at 3/5. Okay, we're going to start right there. And then we're adding another 3/5. So we're going to move up 3/5. 1, 2, 3. So 3/5 plus 5/5 equals 6/5. Okay? Let's try another one. So what we're going to do, this time, we're going to do division. Not division, sorry. We're going to do subtraction. We're going to start out with 7/4 minus 3/4. So we're starting out with 0, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, or 1, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4. Since I know I'm going to subtract, I don't need to go past 7/4. Okay, so we're going to put a dot right here on our starting line, 7/4. And then we're going to subtract 3/4. So let's count. 1, 2, 3. And I land on 4/4, which also equals 1. Okay? And that's how we use a number line. Now, on the next slide, you're going to be given a couple of problems to try out. So if you need a reminder on how it works, restart this page and follow along on a piece of paper and pencil, okay? Alright, Jaguars, this is your time to try out what we learned. So, you're going to select one addition and one subtraction problem to model and solve using a number line. This is a good time to pause the video and try out the work on a piece of paper and a pencil. And once you're done, press play and check your work, okay? Alright, Jaguars, I hope you had some time to work through some of the problems. Let's get started. Number 1. Number 1, we have 5/2 minus 2/2. Well, 5 minus 2 equals 3. Our units stay the same, so we have halves. So if we have 3/2, that equals 2/2 plus 1/2, which is going to give us 1 and 1/2. So our answer is going to be 1 and 1/2. Number 2, we have 4/5 minus 3/5. 4 minus 3 equals 1. So we have 1/5. And 1/5 is not an improper fraction, so we can leave our answer like that. Number 1, for addition, we have 3, 6. We want to write in unit form. 3/6 plus 5/6. 3 plus 8 equals 5, or 3 plus 5 equals 8. Our unit is 6. So we have 8/6. We have that decomposed into 6/6 plus 2/6, which is 1 and 2/6. Okay? So our answer is 1 and 2/6. And number 2, we have 2/3 plus 3/3. Well, 2 plus 3 equals 5, and our units stay the same, so it's still thirds. So 5/3, that's decomposed into 3/3 plus 2/3, which gets us 1 and 2/3. Okay? So our answer is 1 and 2/3. How'd you do? Hope you did well. Okay, keep up the good work. And we're now going to move on to our blue math journal to do some problems, okay?